They will be in Detroit tonight. After the end rescinded the 16th technical foul on Luka Doncic, he will be able to play in this game. He got the text Saturday night in a win over the Magic that reached the threshold to trigger a one-game suspension. But again, that was rescinded, so he will play in the game tonight against the Pistons. Lakers have won 9 straight. Luka averaging 40 points, 8 boards, 7 assists, all of a sudden playing his way into the center of the MVP conversation.
Absolutely. He is easily right now, especially this season, not only just the leading scorer, he's taking the most shots, taking the most threes, getting to the free throw line. He's the best offensive weapon in the NBA today, and that's how he's playing. But his efficiency, Sean, to me, that's the thing that's jumping off the charts. Since this run for them started around January 18th, when they started to win games and get it right, he's shooting 40% from three. So not only is he putting up over 11 threes a game, he's hitting them at a 40% clip.
Yeah.
He is the center of the universe for their offense. Also, Reeves is a guy that can get a bucket when you need it.
Yep.
And don't look now, but LeBron James might be the greatest role player in the history of the game.
Without
figuring it out.
Willing to do something that a lot of the other immortals were not willing to do at the end of their career, which is play second fiddle, or in this case, maybe at times third fiddle. But Wendy said something interesting last week. I want to get your take. You played with LeBron James. Wendy said on First Take last week, you can see in LeBron when he thinks he's got a team that's ready to go the distance. You played with him. What are you seeing from LeBron? What do you think he thinks this Laker team that's won 9 straight is capable of doing?
Well, I think that LeBron definitely is excited about his team and where they're at now. I don't think that he envisioned them being where they are right now. I don't think any of us did. But I think that with the confidence that comes behind LeBron, he knows he needs a little delusion. So if he's eyeing a championship right now, it's delusion. But it takes delusion to do anything great. So in respects to that, I think that the ceiling is second round.
Second round remains second round. So I'm just going to go through teams. You tell me that they can't beat OKC.
No.
They can't beat San Antonio?
I'm not seeing.
Can they beat Denver?
I can see that matchup happening.
I'm just trying to thinking through the teams.
Denver.
You look skeptical.
Denver. Here's why. And it's not about LeBron, Luka, or Reeves. It's about DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Like, you need big man play. They're getting it from him in spurts. He talks about buying in, that he now, a week ago he was upset that they were trying to make him Clint Capella. Now he's saying, oh, I get it now. I want to be part of this. I want to be the reason why we win. If they get him playing at a high level, especially against a guy like Jokic, then maybe they have a chance.
An NBA season is so long. There's so much time for so many things to happen that the Lakers have looked dead to rights multiple times. But here we are. This is when it actually matters. And you know who's got, you got to give some credit to their coach.
Yes.
For whatever it is, if Ayton finds his role and Luka's now ready at the right time and LeBron has figured out what role he needs to have and they've got a way to play with Reeves and all they do is win close games. A little credit for J.J. Redick, I think, as well.
A lot of credit for J.J. Redick. For him to turn a team that we have all criticized and said defensively, it's just you don't know what you're going to get. You can't trust them, especially when you start talking about one-on-one. They can't take the challenge. But they have figured out ways to inspire themselves enough to say, hey, we got a team defense. We may not be able to stop a nosebleed, but we going to go out here and we're going to defend as a team. There's going to be first help. There's going to be second help. We're going to meet you at the rim and we're going to contest. We're going to make sure we get rebounds. We're going to give our guy Luka more shots. We're going to do the back taps and back it out. And I think the more attempts that you give a guy like Luka Doncic, you give chances to a guy like LeBron James, you can seal any game.
Puncher's chance. You give the Lakers a puncher chance to make something happen in the West that seems
to make something
happen.
Yes. And again, as you give credit to players, I'm in total agreement. J.J. Redick deserves a lot of credit for this as well, because he has throughout this season found ways to motivate different parts of this team and then make it fit and understand I got to cut back the rotation, whatever it is. It's not just X's and O's. It's a lot of mental game with him as well. He's a really good coach. We don't want to say that, I think, in some levels, because maybe it's the Duke thing. I don't know. You don't want to like him, but he's a really good coach, and it's showing this time of the year.
It's funny. I agree with you. I find it
should have went to Georgia Tech.
We got a good game. We got 2 good games, actually, on Wednesday night. Our ES
against OKC. You can't have moments like that against the Boston Celtics, and we've seen that from Luka in the NBA Finals once upon a time. So, yeah, I think that Luka has the ability in a 7-game series to take over and dominate and get his team 4 wins. He can do that against anybody. The question is, can he do that in the championship rounds against other legit contenders and keep it together enough during a 2-month span in order to not disqualify his team because he disqualifies himself?
So am I a sucker then for believing in them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
But listen, I'm right there with you, though, Smalls. I mean, we in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. I want to believe in my team, too.
Yeah.
And this is in a season coming in where I said they had no shot at being able to win a title with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves on the court at the same time. They had no chance because of the composition of the squad and how much of a liability those three on the court at the same time could be on the defensive end. They found a way to be able to overcome that. They just have. I mean, the Los Angeles Lakers are 30-0 when they have a 14-plus point lead this season. 30-0. But here's probably the more impressive stat. The Lakers are 22-6 in clutch games this season. That's games where the margin is 5 points in the last 5 minutes. No other team has less than 10 losses in such game. The Lakers are awesome. They get the lead. They keep their foot on their gas. They don't give it back. In a close game, they got two of the premier playmakers in the game in Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And Austin Reeves is a bucket in his own right. So, yeah, those numbers tell me, the body of work tells me that the Los Angeles Lakers can compete and beat anybody on any given night. The only question is the mentality of the star player and whether or not he's going to be able to keep it together long enough for the Lakers to go on a title run.
It's still weird for me when you say that, for you to be referencing Luka and not LeBron. When you say the mentality of the star player. Because you're right, it is all revolving around Luka right now. Part of the reason why the Lakers are able to go on this 9-game win streak and have people like me believing in them is because of an adjusted role by LeBron. But I guess that's also why I do have this little flame of faith going off in my head whenever I watch them. Because I've seen Luka carry a team to the finals. I've seen LeBron James win everywhere. I believe in the basketball acumen that the Lakers possess. Between LeBron and JJ Redick, those are some smart basketball minds that can analyze and pick apart an opponent. And if they continue to play like this, maybe I am a sucker. But I am not counting them out as legit contenders. I'm just not. And it's interesting to me that across sports, we always default to greatness. Oh, so many times in basketball, when we're looking at matchups, we're like, okay, well, this guy's on the floor. How many times have we deferred to the Nuggets because of Jokic? We do it all the time. Even if from a tactical standpoint, it's not an advantageous matchup, we'll say, but we're going to default to that guy. It's just surprising to me that we're not doing that with LeBron and Luka in a lot of ways as we assess what we think the Lakers' future will be, as far as contention is concerned.
The top 8 teams, I believe, in the Western Conference right now are on a combined 32-game win streak. Interestingly enough, the Lakers have been unreal recently. They've won 9 in a row, 12 of 13. They don't have the highest win streak in the Western Conference. OKC does. So when you say, if they keep this up, I believe in them to be contenders, can you define the contender as it relates to the Lakers? What does contender mean for you?
Get to the conference finals.
Conference finals? Is that same thing for you, Smalls?
Yeah.
Conference finals.
I could see it.
So the Luka will get them there and then prevent them from getting there simultaneously is interesting because what they have, if we just use on like the best teams we've seen over the last 10, 15 years in the NBA have been some of these Warriors teams, right? So let's just use them as an example. LeBron is playing like Draymond. Luka acts like Draymond. So they have a little bit of that, right? If you think about it, we were worried about Draymond getting suspended for technical fouls. Obviously, we know that he did in the playoffs years ago. And LeBron, the way he's playing, less dribbles, closer to the basket, triple-double, point power forward, not just point forward, like being able to play up. There's an element to this that they have they have a little Draymond in there. Do they have their Steph and Clay, right? And so I think what you're saying in a weird way is, Luka, let LeBron play the Draymond role. You have to play the Steph role now. Yeah. Which means you have to be a straight line, no emotion on the court. Like that's some of Steph's greatness and why you have called him a true champion. Never too high, never too low.
Yeah, but that's not Luka.
That's not Luka. That's the problem.
He can't be at his best unless he's doing those other things, which is the flaw in the hero in this instance. And so you're just wondering, can this team find a way to be able to overcome that? Right? Because a part of his mentality, a part of his persona is what led to Nico Harrison deciding to trade him from the Dallas Mavs. Not only was it the injuries, but it was the personality, it was the antics on the court, and whether or not he could mature enough to be able to take advantage of it being at the height of his powers in terms of in the middle of his prime. and get his team to the title rounds and ultimately win a chip? I don't know. That's still an open question. And I think this year is just another opportunity for Luka to try to prove everybody that's been a naysayer in his career wrong. Because when it comes to the basketball ability, nobody questions that. It's all about the 6 inches between his ears.
You want to go crazy? We'll go crazy.
Go for it.
They win a title this year. Sorry, Charles Barkley doesn't want us doing this, but let's just play this out.
Okay.
They win a title this year. This year, the 2026 NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers is best for which person on the team's resume? JJ? Luka? LeBron?
Luka.
I told you so.
When you carry a team to the finals at 25 years old and they unceremoniously dump you in the middle of the night, less than a year removed from that, and say, you're never going to get it done. We don't believe in you. You will never change, and we cannot hitch our wagon to you for the future. And then he goes to one of the most storied franchises in all of sports, takes his conditioning more seriously, and he becomes the focal point of that team over arguably the second greatest player to ever live and brings a title to LA. Yeah, I would say Luka would have the biggest I told you so moment out of all of them.
Can I pick somebody that's off the board?
Pelinka?
No.
Ooh.
The Lakers. We win with any star that we get. I mean, think about it. Not just that, we win with any star we get. And oh, by the way, we have a habit of finding coaches that are in the broadcast booth and turning them into championship coaches. We did it with Pat Riley.
Yes.
We're doing it with JJ Redick. I mean, you have to say the Lakers.
Just the organization,
they just win. Draft and develop, that's for somebody else, not the Lakers. We don't do that. We just take other people's stars and do it better. We take people in the broadcast booth and we make them champions. That's what we do.
Sickening.
Cheer.
Ooh. Better than St. John's, Arkansas?
Because of the two. College basketball is a coach's sport. Now, this year, do we have great young players? We do, but it's always about the coaches. Pitino and Calipari?
Could you, Michigan State?
Oh, that would be good. Obviously, I'm
Tom
biased.
Izzo.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
obviously, but I don't know that Izzo and May don't have Dusty May. They don't have like the beef, the alleged beef.
There's plenty of beef between those two programs in that state.
For sure.
Plenty of beef. They call him little brother.
You know what? You've just given me something to really root for with my school. I'm now rooting for Arkansas St. John's national championship. That would be off the charts.
That'd be great.
Rude.
That'd be great.
Oh, it has nothing to do. I'm not rooting against your school. I'm just saying situationally, storyline-wise, I think those are the two biggest storylines that CC just brought up.
I would agree with that.
Oh, I hope so. It's your point.
Coach Cal versus Slick Rick.
Oh my God! Fast forward right now. Fast forward right now.
I mean, both of those guys have been. I'm just saying. It's just anyway. Keeping it moving.
Number 2.
Team USA beats the brakes off of Tom Brady's squad at the Fanatics Flag Football Festival in LA this weekend.
Something absolutely insane is happening in the NBA right now that nobody saw coming. And honestly, I'm not even sure how to explain what we're witnessing without sounding completely crazy. There's a team that just did something no team in NBA history has ever done. There's a superstar who broke a record that stood for decades. And there's a game happening tonight that could either make or completely destroy everything we've been watching unfold. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking, and I mean everyone from analysts to former players to people who haven't watched basketball in years. What happened 2 nights ago in Orlando was so ridiculous, so impossible, that even the guy who made the shot said he couldn't believe it actually worked. We're talking about a situation where a technical foul almost ruined everything, where a coach drew up a play so brilliant that Hall of Famers are still trying to figure out how he thought of it, and where a player who wasn't even on this team 2 months ago just became the hero of the most improbable story in sports right now. Tonight in Detroit, this whole thing either continues getting crazier or it all comes crashing down in the most spectacular way possible, and honestly, I have no idea which one it's gonna be. Before I tell you exactly what's been happening, and why tonight's game is actually way bigger than anyone realizes, smash that like button because you're about to find out why everyone in basketball is losing their minds right now. The Los Angeles Lakers just accomplished something that sounds made up when you say it out loud. They've won 9 straight games. But that's not the crazy part, because teams win 9 in a row all the time. The crazy part is how they've been winning, and more specifically, what happens when these games get close. When the score is within 5 points in the final 5 minutes, which is how the NBA officially defines clutch time, the Lakers are 22-6 this season. That's a 78.6% winning rate in the most pressure-packed moments, and it's not even close to anyone else in the league. Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs are supposed to be the elite teams everyone's afraid of, but the Lakers are making them look amateur in crunch time with a net rating of 27.8. That includes the best offensive rating in the entire NBA at 130.2 and a defensive rating that ranks in the top 6. Think about what that means for a second. When the game is on the line and every possession matters more than anything else, the Lakers become the most unstoppable offensive force in basketball while simultaneously clamping down defensively in ways that make opposing coaches question everything they thought they knew about basketball strategy. What's really breaking everyone's brain is watching Luka Doncic do something that literally no player in 70-plus years of NBA history has ever done. And I mean nobody. Not Michael Jordan, not Kobe Bryant, not LeBron James, not any of the legends who are supposed to have done everything possible in this game. He just became the first player ever to score 30 or more points in 9 consecutive games, while his team won every single one. Which sounds simple until you realize the mathematical impossibility of maintaining that level of individual excellence while ensuring team success over this kind of stretch. During these 9 games, Doncic is averaging 40 points, 8.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists, and 3.5 combined steals and blocks per game, which are video game numbers that would be impressive for a single game, let alone as a sustained average over nearly 2 weeks of basketball. Former NBA players who criticized him earlier this season, guys like DeMarcus Cousins who should know better, are now publicly admitting they were completely wrong and look genuinely embarrassed about what they said just a few months ago. While all this individual brilliance is happening, LeBron James quietly made history without anyone really noticing until after it was over, which is pretty typical for someone who's been rewriting record books for 2 decades. When he stepped on the court Saturday night against Orlando, it was his 1,612th regular season game, which officially broke Robert Parrish's record for most games played in NBA history. A milestone that represents not just longevity, but the kind of availability and durability that modern players supposedly can't match because they're too soft or too concerned with load management. Parrish himself called LeBron to congratulate him and said if anyone deserved to break his record, it was someone who takes care of his body the way LeBron does, which is basically a Hall of Fame center admitting that a guy playing in his 23rd season is more dedicated to his craft than most players are in their prime. Saturday night's game against Orlando was when this whole winning streak almost ended in the most heartbreaking way possible. And what happened in those final seconds is still giving me chills, because it perfectly encapsulates everything that makes this Lakers run so special and so maddening for their opponents. With 2.6 seconds left on the clock, the Lakers were down by 2 points, and their winning streak was about to die, in the kind of crushing fashion that would have had critics saying they told us this was all smoke and mirrors. LeBron got fouled on what should have been an easy game-tying layup by Paolo Banchero, but the referees swallowed their whistles and refused to make the obvious call, and everyone in the building knew the streak was over. because there's no way you overcome that kind of bad luck and poor officiating with less than 3 seconds remaining. That's when JJ Redick did something that made Shannon Sharpe, who has seen every possible clutch situation during his Hall of Fame career, call it one of the best coaching sequences he's ever witnessed in real time. Instead of panicking or accepting defeat like most first-year head coaches would have done, Redick drew up not one but 2 different plays in about 10 seconds that were so perfectly designed and executed, they made the Magic defense look like they were playing their first organized basketball game. The first play was supposed to get LeBron the ball underneath the basket for what should have been a routine game-tying score. But when Orlando fouled him again without getting a whistle from referees who apparently left their eyes in the locker room, Redick immediately switched to his backup plan without missing a beat. He used LeBron as a decoy to draw 2 defenders away from Luke Kennard, who had been acquired from Atlanta specifically for moments like this, creating a wide-open three-pointer with 0.6 of a second left that Kennard drained like he was shooting around in an empty gym during practice. But none of this miraculous finish would have happened if not for a controversy earlier in the game that almost derailed everything before it got to the dramatic conclusion. And this situation reveals just how precarious this entire winning streak has been, despite all the individual brilliance and team success. During the third quarter, Luka Doncic got into a heated exchange with Orlando's Goga Bitadze while shooting a free throw, and both players received technical fouls for what initially appeared to be routine trash talk that happens in every NBA game. However, that would have been Doncic's 16th technical foul of the season, which triggers an automatic 1-game suspension that would have kept him out of tonight's crucial matchup in Detroit and potentially disrupted the entire chemistry that has made this winning streak possible. The details of what actually happened between Doncic and Bitadze reveal just how ugly things can get when competitive intensity crosses the line into personal territory that has nothing to do with basketball. Doncic claimed that Bitadze said he would harm his entire family in Serbian, which crosses every possible line of acceptable trash talk and enters territory that no player should have to tolerate regardless of how heated the competition becomes. Bitadze denied making any comments about Doncic's family and claimed that Doncic had initiated the inappropriate language in Serbian, apparently not realizing that Bitadze played professionally in Serbia for several years and understood every single word that was being said. The NBA reviewed the entire incident and ultimately decided to rescind both technical fouls, which saved Doncic from missing tonight's game but also highlighted how close this streak came to ending because of circumstances that had nothing to do with actual basketball performance. Tonight's game against the Detroit Pistons represents far more than just an opportunity to extend their winning streak to 10 games because the Lakers find themselves in a fascinating strategic position where they're facing an opponent that is simultaneously weakened by injury but still extremely dangerous due to their overall talent, home court advantage, and the kind of desperation that makes teams play above their normal level. The Pistons are currently without their franchise cornerstone Cade Cunningham, who has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung that sounds like something out of a medical textbook rather than a typical basketball injury. But Detroit has responded to his absence by winning 3 consecutive games and proving they're not just going to roll over and surrender, despite missing their best player and primary offensive catalyst. What makes tonight's matchup even more challenging for the Lakers is that their own injury report reads like a medical thriller, with several key rotation players dealing with various ailments that could significantly impact their depth and strategic flexibility. Rui Hachimura is listed as questionable due to right calf soreness that has been bothering him for several games. Marcus Smart is questionable with right ankle soreness that could affect his defensive intensity and perimeter shooting, and Maxi Kleber remains questionable because of a lumbar back strain that has kept him out of action since early March and limited the Lakers' front court depth during crucial moments of games. These potential absences have forced the Lakers to recall two promising young players, Kobe Bufkin and Adu Thiro, from their G League affiliate South Bay Lakers, which suggests that JJ Redick might need to rely on inexperienced players in what could be one of their most challenging games during this remarkable winning streak. The timing of these call-ups is particularly interesting because it indicates the Lakers are taking no chances with their depth and are preparing for every possible scenario, including the possibility that one or more of their questionable players won't be able to contribute meaningful minutes in a hostile road environment. Bufkin and Thiro represent the kind of young athletic talent that could potentially provide energy and defensive intensity off the bench. But they also lack the playoff experience and game management skills that typically become crucial during winning streaks when every possession matters and opponents are throwing their best shot at ending your run. Adding another layer of complexity to tonight's matchup is the personal drama surrounding Luka Doncic that has nothing to do with basketball but could potentially affect his focus and emotional state during this crucial stretch of the season. According to court documents filed in Los Angeles Superior Court, Doncic is seeking dismissal of a petition filed by his ex-fiancée, Ana Maria Goltes, who is pursuing child support and attorney fees related to their two daughters, 2-year-old Gabriela and 4-month-old Olivia, who currently live with their mother in Slovenia. This legal battle involves complex custody arrangements, international jurisdictional issues, and the kind of personal stress that would be challenging for anyone to navigate, let alone someone who is trying to maintain elite athletic performance while dealing with the pressure of leading a championship contender through the most important part of the season. The strategic implications of tonight's game extend far beyond individual player performances or even team winning streaks, because the Lakers are currently defending their third-place position in the Western Conference standings with 3 teams trailing them by exactly 2.5 games, which means every victory is crucial for maintaining the playoff positioning that could determine their path through what promises to be the most competitive postseason in recent memory. Meanwhile, the Pistons sit comfortably atop the Eastern Conference with a 4.5-game lead over the Boston Celtics, which gives them significantly more margin for error and allows them to approach tonight's game with less pressure than their opponents, who are fighting for every possible advantage in the playoff seeding race. What makes tonight's matchup even more intriguing is watching how the absence of Cade Cunningham has created opportunities for other Pistons players to showcase their abilities and potentially emerge as unexpected heroes in this David versus Goliath storyline that Detroit fans are probably loving more than they should. Second-year guard Dennis Jenkins has been the primary beneficiary of Cunningham's absence from a statistical perspective, averaging over 36 minutes per game during the last 2 contests, while leading the team in shot attempts with 14 per game, even though his field goal percentage of 35.3% suggests he's still adjusting to this expanded role and increased responsibility. Tonight happens to be Ausar Thompson bobblehead night at Little Caesars Arena, which adds an interesting subplot because Thompson himself is expected to play a more significant role in the Pistons' game plan, especially considering his defensive versatility could be crucial for containing the Lakers' high-octane offense that has been virtually unstoppable during their current winning streak. The transformation we're witnessing with this Lakers team goes way deeper than just winning games. In dramatic fashion, Because what JJ Redick has managed to accomplish with his 9-man rotation is starting to look like legitimate coaching genius rather than just good luck with player health and favorable matchups. When you really break down how this rotation works and analyze the specific combinations that Redick deploys in different situations, you realize that he's not just playing his best players the most minutes, he's creating specific lineups that maximize each player's strengths while hiding their weaknesses in ways that opposing coaches are still trying to figure out and adjust to. The fact that they can go this deep into the bench and still maintain their offensive efficiency and defensive intensity is something that separates championship teams from pretenders who rely too heavily on their top players. And right now, the Lakers are looking more and more like the former with each passing game. Shannon Sharpe's praise of JJ Redick's clutch coaching has been particularly noteworthy because Sharpe doesn't hand out compliments lightly, especially to first-year head coaches who are still learning how to manage egos, rotations, and game situations at the highest level. When Sharpe says that Redick's play calling in those final seconds against Orlando was some of the best coaching he's ever seen, that carries significant weight because he played alongside some of the most successful coaches in NBA history and has watched thousands of crucial possessions over his career as a player and analyst. The fact that Redick can draw up multiple contingency plans in real time and execute them flawlessly under the most intense pressure imaginable suggests that he has the kind of basketball IQ and composure that could serve this team well in playoff situations where coaching adjustments often determine the outcomes of entire series. But here's what's really driving opponents crazy about playing the Lakers in clutch time and making their winning streak so sustainable even against quality. Competition. They have so many different ways to hurt you that game planning becomes almost impossible for opposing coaches who are used to being able to focus their defensive attention on stopping one or two primary threats. If you focus too much on stopping Doncic's individual scoring, LeBron becomes the primary initiator, and his court vision at his age is still absolutely ridiculous, allowing him to find open teammates and create easy scoring opportunities that completely break down defensive schemes. If you try to take away LeBron's driving lanes and force him into difficult shots, Doncic can pull up from anywhere on the court and make three-pointers that honestly shouldn't be physically possible given the degree of difficulty and defensive pressure. And if you somehow manage to slow down both superstars through double teams and aggressive switching, guys like Austin Reeves and Marcus Smart are ready to step up and make plays that swing entire games in the Lakers' favor. The psychological aspect of what this winning streak is doing to their opponents cannot be understated, because teams are coming into games against the Lakers knowing that even if they play well for 45 minutes and execute their game plan perfectly, there's a very real chance they're going to lose in the final 3 minutes when the Lakers transform into this completely different animal that plays with a level of confidence and precision that seems almost unfair. That kind of mental pressure changes how teams approach entire games, forcing them to try to build larger leads earlier in an attempt to create a cushion that can withstand the Lakers' inevitable late-game surge, but this strategy often backfires because it takes them out of their normal offensive rhythm and makes them more predictable for Lakers defenders who are getting more and more confident with each passing game. DeAndre Ayton's recent public admission about his early season struggles provides crucial context for understanding how this team has evolved from a collection of talented individuals into a cohesive unit that knows how to win games when it matters most. His willingness to accept responsibility for not bringing the right energy and focus during the first part of the season shows the kind of accountability and maturity that championship teams require from every player on the roster, not just the superstars who get most of the attention and criticism. When your starting center publicly acknowledges that he wasn't giving maximum effort and wasn't fully committed to the team concept, it creates an environment where everyone else has to examine their own contributions and make sure they're not the weak link that costs the team important games during crucial stretches of the season. Ayton's improved play over the last several weeks has been one of the most underrated storylines of this winning streak, because his presence in the paint on both ends of the floor gives the Lakers a legitimate interior threat that opposing teams have to account for in their defensive game planning and rotation strategies. His rebounding has been particularly crucial during close games, where extra possessions can be the difference between winning and losing. And his rim protection has allowed the Lakers to be more aggressive with their perimeter defense, knowing they have someone behind them who can alter shots and clean up mistakes when rotations break down, or opposing players manage to get past their initial defender. The jarred Vanderbilt situation represents one of those interesting coaching decisions that might not make much sense during the regular season, but could end up being crucial for playoff success when matchups become more important, and role players often determine the outcomes of entire series. JJ Redick has essentially removed Vanderbilt from the regular rotation despite his obvious defensive abilities and versatility. But everyone around the team understands that his skill set becomes much more valuable in playoff basketball, where possessions are more precious and individual matchups can be exploited or neutralized based on coaching adjustments. Vanderbilt's ability to switch across multiple positions and guard the opponent's best perimeter players could be the difference between advancing deep into the playoffs and going home early, which is why keeping him engaged and ready despite limited minutes shows Redick's understanding of what it takes to build a championship rotation that can adapt to different challenges and opponents. The schedule that lies ahead presents both opportunities and challenges that could define the rest of their season and determine whether this winning streak becomes a footnote or the foundation for something truly special. While they have some seemingly winnable games coming up that should theoretically favor the Lakers based on talent and momentum, the NBA has taught us repeatedly that there are no guaranteed victories, especially for teams carrying the pressure and expectations that come with extended winning streaks. Their remaining games in March include matchups that on paper should favor the Lakers, but basketball isn't played on paper, and teams that are fighting for their playoff lives or trying to play spoiler can be more dangerous than legitimate contenders who are already comfortable with their positioning and might be looking ahead to the postseason. The fact that they potentially could extend this streak to 14 games before facing their next truly difficult opponent in Oklahoma City creates an interesting psychological dynamic, because reaching that number would put them in territory where people start talking about historical winning streaks and making comparisons to some of the best regular season runs in NBA history. But getting to 14 means winning 5 more games without any letdowns, injuries, or off nights from key players, which is much easier said than done even against supposedly inferior competition that might be more motivated than usual to be the team that ends the Lakers' remarkable run. Bill Simmons recently provided fascinating insight into why Lakers teams historically seem to find another gear after the trade deadline, and his explanation reveals important truths about NBA psychology and roster construction that casual fans might not fully appreciate. According to Simmons, the end of trade rumors and roster uncertainty allows players to fully commit to their roles and team concepts, instead of constantly wondering whether they might be shipped off to another city or if their teammates might disappear overnight. Once the deadline passes and everyone knows they'll be finishing the season together, players can stop playing for individual statistics or worrying about their trade value, and instead focus entirely on what the team needs to be successful, which creates the kind of chemistry and selflessness that often determines playoff success. What makes this Lakers winning streak even more impressive is that it's happening right after the All-Star break, when many teams traditionally struggle to maintain focus and intensity as they deal with the disruption to their routine and the challenge of getting back into game shape after a week of rest and relaxation. The fact that the Lakers came out of the break looking more focused and cohesive than they were before suggests that they used that time productively to address some of the chemistry and execution issues that were preventing them from reaching their potential during the first half of the season. The LeBron James situation continues to add layers of complexity to everything the Lakers are trying to accomplish, because while he's obviously still playing at an incredibly high level and just broke one of the most impressive longevity records in sports history, the constant speculation about his future creates distractions and uncertainty that championship teams typically try to avoid during the most important part of the season. Reports suggesting that Cleveland and Golden State are his most likely destinations if he decides to leave Los Angeles create an interesting backdrop for this winning streak, because everyone around the organization knows that if the Lakers can make a serious playoff run and potentially reach the finals, it significantly increases the chances that LeBron decides to stay for at least one more season to try to win another championship in Los Angeles. The Cleveland connection is particularly fascinating because it would represent LeBron returning to the franchise where he delivered that incredible 2016 championship that many consider the greatest individual accomplishment of his career. But the current Cavaliers roster would need significant changes and improvements to become a legitimate title contender, capable of convincing LeBron to leave a Lakers team that is clearly moving in the right direction. Golden State presents a more intriguing possibility because they still have Stephen Curry and the institutional knowledge of how to win championships. But their current roster construction and salary cap situation would make it extremely difficult to create the kind of supporting cast that LeBron would need at this stage of his career to compete with teams like Oklahoma City and San Antonio that are built for sustained success. Tonight's game in Detroit will provide another crucial test of this Lakers team's championship credentials, because playing on the road against a desperate opponent that has nothing to lose and everything to gain from ending their streak represents exactly the kind of challenge that separates pretenders from legitimate contenders. The Pistons have already proven they can compete at a high level without their best player, and their fans will be treating this like a playoff game because they want to be remembered as the team that stopped one of the most impressive winning streaks in recent NBA history. If the Lakers can find a way to win tonight and extend their streak to 10 games, the conversation about their championship potential will reach an entirely different level. But if they finally meet their match against a hungry Detroit team playing in front of their home crowd, critics will be quick to point out that this was just a good run that came to an end when they faced their first real test since the streak began. Either way, what we're witnessing represents basketball at its absolute best, with individual brilliance, team chemistry, coaching excellence, clutch performance, and pure drama all combining to create something that nobody will forget anytime soon, regardless of how it ultimately ends.